As Syria recovers from 13 years of civil war and decades under the brutal Assad regime, its people must now rebuild their nation.
One of those facing that task is Salah Hawa, a Syrian literature professor and revolutionary who the NewsHour met in 2012 and has spoken with many times since. Special correspondent Layla Milana Allen spoke with him recently in the new Free Syria.
A free Syria for all its people. In 2012, Salah Hawa was an idealistic young father, teacher and protester with high hopes for a free future for his country.
We're singing, we're chanting in the streets peacefully without carrying any weapons. Every day, the Assad regime forces, the security Mukhabarat forces, kill people on a daily basis.
What he saw in the 12 years since left him dejected and hopeless. His hometown of Hraitan devastated by Russian airstrikes, and hundreds of his friends and colleagues killed and displaced. This was once Salah's home, where he raised his 3 oldest children and dreamed of a bright future for them. Now his community, like thousands across the country, lies in pieces. The earthquake 2 years ago took much of what the warplanes and artillery shells hadn't already destroyed. Salah still thinks much death and destruction could have been avoided if he and his friends were given the help they needed in the early days of the revolution.
Nobody needs to blame them for being militants, because what they saw pushes everybody to be militant. When you see that all the people around you are bombed every day and nobody is trying to help, we do not deny that we got good support from Western governments and Western organizations, but everything they gave was food, some blanket. But what we needed at that time was some kind of weaponry. If the US at that time had supported us militarily, we would have prevented Iran from smuggling weapons to Hezbollah.
Salah, who once believed the world, and especially the US, would stand behind Syrian protesters, spoke multiple times to the NewsHour as the civil war spiraled, telling us his country had been abandoned to horror. But, he says, now is their chance to make amends. He fears if there's a power vacuum, Iran and Russia could come back to fill it.
Particularly the West, particularly America, right now have, let me say, a very good chance to start a new page with the Syrian people, to atone for their sins with the Syrian people. They let us down in the past. I believe that pro-Assad forces are still waiting. They are still weaponized, and lots of Iranians are still in Syria, by the way. This means that right now the West mustn't lose this chance.
After the sudden fall of the dictator who he says destroyed his country, now Salah's hope is back, rejoicing alongside millions of Syrians at home and displaced abroad who now hope to return. But so many like him have been left homeless and penniless by this war. And his family is luckier than most. Since fleeing Hraitan, they've been living in this small house in Azaz that the whole extended family shares. Rebuilding will be an almighty task in a country with an economy that's in ruins too.
80% of our houses had been destroyed by the Russian airplanes. I cannot rebuild my house because it needs thousands of dollars, and you know this is impossible nowadays because we do not have salaries. The economic cycle right now has broken down. The economic situation needs to be reactivated, needs to be starting new businesses, starting factories, because we have lots of young men here are unemployed.
When rebel-held Idlib faced extermination in 2020, Salah begged then-President Trump for help.
I'm calling for President Mr. Donald Trump, please do something. Please, I beg you.
Now he has high hopes that a Trump presidency will be in Syria's favor, mostly because of his firm stance against Iran.
The nuclear agreement was under the Obama administration, and Mr. Trump stopped all that agreement. That's why we as Syrians believe that if we think of who is better for Syria in terms of the relationship with Iran, no, it's President Trump. Even if we were not his friends, at least he is an enemy of our enemy.
Who did this action?
Since 2016, Salah has been teaching at what people in rebel-held territory called the University of Free Aleppo. A literature professor, now he hopes his future will be dominated by books, not war.
I feel that I am still in a dream. The tyrannical regime, the dictator, whom we worked hard to topple down for 13 years, right now is erased from Syria in 13 days. That was miraculous. I believe that this is the first time we as Syrian people, and personally, I feel that I am a human being again. I am free again. All of us believe that we were born just now. We have been born maybe for the first time in our life. We can speak freely.
There's so much work to be done, but when and if you get there, what does life in a free Syria look like for you?
As revolutionaries, we don't think about ourselves. We think about our society, about the benefits of our society, the welfare of our society. And that's why we started the revolution, because we wanted to liberate our society, to open new horizons for the generations to come. Imagine, after 13 years of being chased from one place to the other, displaced outside my home and living under bombardment, waiting for the Russian planes to come and attack us, the ideas, the feelings, the emotions are crowded in our heads and not knowing what to do, what to say, how to feel even. So I cannot imagine how my future life will be.
And how about for your kids? You grew up under the Assads. What do you want for them?
At least we got rid of the Assad regime and we let them, live freely now. They can say what they want. They can feel what they want. They can speak freely. Now they are not afraid of any oppression. They are not afraid to be detained anymore. And I believe that the future is ahead of them.
A future he never thought they would see. Now, he hopes he and his countrymen can build the nation they promised. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Layla Milana Allen in Aleppo, Syria.